Namaskar students. In this lecture we will discuss interpolation error. So to find out the interpolation error, so we start with the case when we have two data points. Suppose the data points are x0, x1 and the corresponding functional values are f0 and f1. Now corresponding to this data point, as we know, since we have two, so there can be a interpolating polynomial of degree at most 1. So let us assume that interpolating polynomial be given by p1x. And here we also know the form of the function, exact function which fits that data. So this is known. Now what is this interpolation error? This means that we have to find out this how much this polynomial, linear polynomial over here deviates from this original function. So how we can identify it? So this is we are denoting this by E1 f comma x as fx, this means the original function, minus p1x, this is the interpolating polynomial that we have established with the help of concept of Lagrange's polynomial, and this is true for all x belongs to the closed interval x0 comma x1. Our aim is to find out the expression for this E1 f comma x. So this will give us the amount of error in the interpolation formula. Now we have to find the expression for this. So how we can derive the expression for this error function. So let us see how we can derive the expression. So here we see that if x is equal to x0 or this x is equal to x1, means 10 points we are going to take. All here we have only 2 points, so both the points we have taken. So at these points we have error function E1 fx will be equal to 0. Why it is 0? Because at the nodal points, interpolating nodes, these are also called interpolating nodes, the points which are given. So at the interpolating nodes, the functional value and the interpolating value will be same, because that is called the interpolation condition. So at these points they must exactly satisfy, so we get error as 0. Now if we want to take any x which belongs to x0, x1, then for this x we are going to define a function over here. The function we are going to define is gt is equal to ft minus this p1t minus this will be fx minus p1x and multiplied with this whole thing multiplied with t minus x0 t minus x1 whole divided by x minus x0 and x minus x1. Let us name it as equation number, some equation number we can give. Let it be equation number 1. Let it be equation number 1. So how we are, the question is why we have taken such kind of function. So here, since you have not discussed the divided difference, limited divided difference formula and all, so we are assuming the function like this, that you have to assume for deriving the interpolation error that we are going to choose a function like this. Now at this function, what we have to check, let us see at this function, at this, for this gt, if we are going to take at t is equal to x0 or t is equal to x1, we are going to take, then for these two cases this gt will be equal to 0, because if we are going to take t equal to x0 and t is equal to x for this x0, t equal to x0, t is equal to x1, because these are the endpoints, and at the endpoints that error was 0, because, and also from here at t equal to x0, this is fx0 and p1x0, so both are equal, so they may cancel out. Likewise for the other, so we will get 0. Similarly at t equal to x1 also, this is the end point, error was 0, and if we are going to substitute So x1 minus x1, this part will be 0, and this is the nodal point, that is the interpolating node. So at the interpolating node, the functional value and the value given by Lagrange polynomial both are same. So this will be 0. Finally we get function as 0. Now at other one, if we are going to take t equal to x. So if we are going to take t equal to x, so we will get here x minus x naught, x minus x1, that is the numerator and denominator are same. So this may cancel out, and we will get fx minus p1x. This will be same as this one, so this will cancel out and we will get 0. So we write at t equal to x naught, t equal to x1 and t equal to x, or at all these points gt will be equal to 0. Gt will be equal to 0. Now this function that we are going to take, these are basically some they have been made with the help of some polynomial functions, right? So they will be continuous as well as differentiable. So here we want to apply the concept of the Rolle's theorem. So let us revise a little bit Rolle's theorem, what the Rolle's theorem says, because we have to apply the Rolle's theorem over here. So Rolle's theorem says that if gx is a continuous function on some interval a comma b and differentiable on the open interval a comma b, and if ga equal to 0 and gb equal to 0, under these conditions, then the Rolle's theorem states that there exists at least one point xi inside this AB. Xi belongs to a comma b, for which g dash of xi equal to 0. G dash of xi equal to 0. So this is our Rolle's theorem. Well known Rolle's theorem, many times we all have seen from our intermediate classes, that if g is a function which is continuous on closed interval AB, differentiable on the open interval AB, and such that ga equal to 0, gb equal to 0, then there will exist a point xi belonging to this such that g at xi equal to 0. So this is the Rolle's theorem. That concept of this Rolle's theorem we wish to apply over here. So see how we can apply it over here. So now we have to see our intervals. So we want to apply the Rolle's theorem over the interval x naught comma t and t comma x1. So we apply the Rolle's theorem separately in the two intervals. So what we get? We get g dash of xi1, suppose for this interval xi1 equal to 0 for x naught less than xi1 less than t, and also we have g dash of another point we are going to take xi2 equal to 0 for t less than xi2 less than x1. We have the 2 points, 2 intervals were there. So Rolle's theorem states this if we are going to apply over this function. So now for this, if you want to concentrate, so t is a point lying in between x0 and x1. So g dash t will also satisfy the condition of Rolle's theorem. So next what we are going to do, now we are going to apply the Rolle's theorem for g dash t on the interval xi1 xi2. Why on the interval xi1 xi2? Let us see. This is x0, this is x1. Suppose here t, here we have taken xi1, here we have taken xi2. Right. So what we are going to next apply, we want to see that g dash t also satisfies, g dash t is a function which also satisfies the condition of this Rolle's theorem. Why? Because g dash t will be continuous in the closed interval, it will be differentiable in some open interval. So the condition of Rolle's theorem will be applicable to the function g dash t. So in that what we will have the condition. So we will have in that g double dash of xi equal to 0, where this or we can say that xi1 less than xi, xi1 less than xi less than xi2. So this condition is obtained while applying the Rolle's theorem over the function g dash t instead of gt. So we have something like this. We can write something like this. Or so this is equivalent to if xi is lying between xi1 and xi2, where it is very clear that it will lie in between x0 and x1 also, because they are lying in between. Just now in the number line we have seen. So what we are going to do next is we have this gt in equation number 1. From here we have to obtain this g double dash xi and equate these two. So we are going to name it as equation number 2. So from here we will try to find g double dash xi, and then our approach will be to equate these two, so that our aim after that will be to find the value of this fx. After simplifying we will find the value of fx. Now see what we will get. So after differentiating this twice, we are going to get g double dash t will be equal to f double dash t minus, after simplification we will get 2 into fx minus p1x, and this whole divided by x minus x0 and x minus x1. So this we are going to get. Why we are going to get this? Because one time if you will differentiate, you will see that this part will not come, because this p1t is a polynomial of degree at most 1, and we are going to differentiate twice. So this will become, the derivative of this will become 0. So we will be left with this, and after simplification we are getting this. Now equating this with the g double dash xi equal to 0. So what we are going to get means we first replace this t by xi. So this xi and t is also this xi, and rest of the things will be as it is. So after let it be number, equation number, that was equation number 2. So let it be equation number 3. Now solving 2 and 3. So if this was equal to 0, so we will substitute this simply as equal to 0. So solving this, we get this is equal to 0, and from here our aim is to try to find out the value of fx. So simplifying this, we get the value of fx as p1x plus 1 by 2 x minus x0 and x minus x1, and together with this it will have f double dash xi. So from here what we can do, we can take this to the left hand side. In the next step I am doing here only. So in the next step this will be minus p1x equal to this we will have, and this is what, fx minus p1x. This is nothing but we have named it as e1 fx, and this is equal to this function. This is equal to this function, that is 1 by 2 x minus x0 x minus x1 f double dash xi. So this is the expression for the error in the linear interpolation or interpolation error when two data points are given. So we have computed for the error in the linear interpolation, and in the next we will have to determine the bounds for this f double dash xi, so that we can substitute it over here to get some idea about the exact amount of error. So that we will discuss in the next class. Thank you.